Today, I'm gonna show you guys how to do well in arena mode on high ping. Quickly before we get into the tips, if you find yourself enjoying this video or you find it useful, please go ahead and drop a thumbs up on the video, as well as clicking that subscribe button if you want to see more future content like this. It's greatly appreciated, thank you guys. Unfortunately, for a lot of us Fortnite players, we play at pretty high pings compared to the rest of the scene. Most really good players that you know that are either popular content creators or professional competitive players play on really low ping, and that basically means that they have a lot easier of a time playing Fortnite than the rest of us that are sitting up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even all the way up into the hundreds for some of you. I personally live in the Midwest. I live in the boring state of Iowa, so I'm pretty much exactly between East and West servers, puts me smack dab in the middle with no servers, and this means in my arena games I'm usually sitting anywhere between 50 to 80 ping. And if you're watching this video, you probably know how annoying it is to play on this high of ping and have to fight players that are on 0 or 5 ping. These fights are usually completely unfair, and it causes us high ping players to pretty much have to change our entire playstyle. So I've been playing Fortnite on high ping since season 1 of Fortnite, and I've learned a ton of different strategies for high ping. So here's some tips for playing arena on high ping. First of all, and most importantly, try to stay out of box fights. Box fights are really where you see the low ping versus high ping come into play. Low ping players can come up, take your wall first try, take your stair first try, and you die. Like 9 out of 10 times you die to those players. Early in my arena grind, even just this season, once I got to the points threshold where players started to actually get pretty good, every single time I saw a player or engage in a fight, I would instantly box up. I later realized that I was instantly putting myself at a disadvantage. Sometimes it's not possible, but if it is possible, try to stay in a build fight rather than a box fight. While ping definitely still plays a role in build fights and what builds place and whatever, its significance is a lot different compared to being in a box fight. So try to stay in build fights if possible. With this being said, box fights are inevitable. You cannot avoid them. So here's how you can win them on high ping. The first tip, which is really important, is learn to get good at escaping your boxes, which basically means as soon as someone takes your wall or takes your pyramid, takes any part of your box, and they have an opportunity to make a play on you, learn how to get out of that situation and get yourself into a new box. Something you want to get in the habit of doing is every single time you box up, make sure to either place a pyramid or a stair in the box with you. Low ping players can take your wall, and as soon as they can take your wall, they can place their stair in before you, reverse edit, and hit you with the mongrel classic 200 pump. You're dead, nothing more you can do. And sometimes there's weird exploits where they don't even need to break a wall, and they can still either place a pyramid or a stair down inside your box. If you're boxed up, make sure you either have a pyramid or a stair in your box with you. What I typically do, as soon as an opponent takes my wall, I edit that stair or edit that pyramid in a way that blocks the opponent. Even if they make an edit, it still serves as a barrier between me and that person, even though usually if they have your wall, it only takes about 3 or 4 AR shots before they can replace that. So you have to be very fast in editing and getting out of that box. If you have okay ping, I'd say between 40 to maybe like 60, 70, then holding your wall maybe once, twice max is not a terrible idea. It gives you a couple extra seconds to think of how you want to get out of your box. But remember, if you do this and they replace that wall first try and they break your stair, break your pyramid and get it down, you're in a pretty bad situation. At this point, the only game saving edit you can make is out of the bottom of your box, but if you're already on ground level or there's something beneath you, then you're kind of screwed right there. I like to escape my box in 2 main ways, and they both involve leaving out of the left side. The first is I usually have a pyramid down in my box, so as soon as the opponent gets my wall, I edit the 2 squares in front of me that blocks the opponent. I turn to my left, edit the top 3 left squares of the wall, I do a side jump, and I box up right there, making sure the 2 walls that face the enemy go down first. The second edit I do is the bottom 3 squares on the left wall. I edit out, I get far enough to where I can place a wall and a stair behind me, so that blocks and provides as a barrier between the opponent and me. And I'll make 1 or 2 more edits and then box up, and that usually provides as a decent amount of space between me and the enemy. And at this point, you can pop your minis, you can heal, and wait for them to come back. Now, when you're escaping these boxes and you're going up and making new boxes, you gotta remember, they're just gonna come back and you're gonna be in the exact same situation. What I tend to do is I box up, I heal if needed, and then I try to do some sort of high ground retake and take a more offensive approach compared to a defensive approach. I want to be on the offense. I want to be the one outside of the box taking the pop shots. I don't want to have to be sitting in my box worried about them getting my wall first try. And this ties back into taking a build fight approach versus a box fight approach. As soon as you make that high ground retake, you're back into a build fight rather than a box fight. And that's when your ping doesn't matter as much. Now again, with this escaping your box tip, you have to be cautious of piece control done by the enemy. A skilled player is going to be predicting you going out of the side and doing this. This is why in the side jump I said make sure the two walls that go down first are the ones facing your opponent, because on low ping they can easily get one of those walls down before you and go in, and they already have an access point to your box. So just be cautious every time you get out of the box. Make sure you place all the builds necessary so the opponent can't place them, and give them an opportunity for a play. To summarize the first tip, avoid box fights, try to stay in build fights, and practice escaping your boxes. The second tip sort of ties into the first, and that is to always be cautious of preventing your opponent's piece control. On higher ping, you really can't play with much confidence compared to what you can do on zero ping. It's sort of a hard thing to explain, but if you have an opportunity to get a build down between you and the opponent, then do it as soon as possible. A lot of people do this thing which I would call like an ego challenge. It happens all the time across skilled Fortnite players. So it's sort of this thing where you might have an opportunity to get a build down between you and your opponent, but instead you might wait for them to make an edit so you can take a shot and then you place your builds. The problem with doing this on high ping is that a lot of times they also try to do that. And if you, a player on like 50-60 ping, are trying to place the builds at the exact same time that a player on 0 ping is trying to place the builds, guess who's gonna get the builds? Not you. A lot of times there's kind of this expectation that once you take a shot, you'll be able to get your builds down, but a lot of times if you're fighting players on lower ping, that's not the situation. That's not happening. They're going to get the builds down and piece control you up, and you're gonna be sitting there helpless in a box completely made by them, and you're just gonna get clipped. There's nothing you can do about it. So to avoid that, make sure you always get your builds down first, and then you play off of those builds. Don't take a shot or don't wait to place those builds. If you have an opportunity, place them. The last tip is pretty simple, and it's literally just to play passive. You might not get to champs as fast as someone on 0 ping W-king every person they see, but it's a nearly foolproof plan. You playing a bit more passive and maybe not fighting everyone you see or not W-king everyone means that you're way less likely to encounter a low ping play, which there are a ton of in arena, by the way. I'd say about 65% of the players that you fight in arena are going to be anywhere between 0 to 10 ping. So playing more passive means you're not going to lose your points to a bus fare if you do happen to fight one of these low ping players. And this allows you to just steadily gain points. Now the biggest con to playing passively is that it's insanely boring. I'll be honest, a lot of my games I land my favorite location, which is the spire, and I'll loot up, get all my mats, farm up, and I'll go and sit at the top of the spire until I'm either forced by storm to leave or until I get my top 25 placement points. Because if you just loot up off spawn and you go running around, you're going to fight someone. It's just a given. Like, there's no way you can avoid everyone on the map unless you're sitting on the outskirts, but even then, that's playing a lot more passive. So like I said, this is really boring. I'd try to play some music or something until you get that top 25 placement, which gives you 60 points, which takes care of the bus fare at every single division of arena. So once you know you can't lose points, then it's time to play a little more aggressively. So at this point, I might go third party to fight. There's a lot of people dying, usually around top 18, top 20 is when I'll start playing more passively again until I get that top 15 placement points. And then from there, I just do the same thing until top 5. Once there's about 7-8 players left, I play passive again until I get that next set of placement points. And then into end game, you obviously want to slow down and play for the win. But if I make it into end game, I'd like to have at least 2 to 3 kills, so you're profiting a good amount of points out of the game. And that's all of my tips. Good luck to you guys in arena. I hope they do help you. If they do, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more tips and tricks content. Thank you guys for watching.